Hi, so in typical me fashion, I forgot to film a intro to this video. So it's the next morning, I made jam last night, and this is the intro. So I'm going to show you how to make some strawberry jam. It's actually my first time making a proper jam from start to finish, but I kind of know roughly what to do, so we're just going to see what happens. And then we will come back to this morning, now that the jam is set overnight, and we'll try it and see what it's like. So, here's how you make strawberry jam. So here are the strawberries from my garden. I washed them and then halved the small ones and quartered the big ones. I didn't know how many strawberries I would have, so in order to know how much sugar to put in, I weighed them in my pan. Some of the strawberries were like underripe and some of them were over, but I just assumed that they'll balance each other out. I think it comes to about 290 grams. Don't know if you can see it properly in that picture. I don't have any way to set up like a bird's eye view shot with my phone, so I had the cupboard door open and I was just balancing my phone over the edge of the cupboard door. Yeah, so it was about 290 grams. So then we got our jam sugar, which if you don't know, I think the main difference in jam sugar is that it has added pectin, and pectin is a natural like thickening agent that is within fruit. However, there isn't enough of it to create jam on its own. So like you have to add some to strawberries in order to get your jam nice and thick. So I did equal parts of jam of jam sugar and strawberries. I think that's just 229. Yeah, I'm going back in maybe. Yeah. And then in a second, we'll be adding some lime juice. I think the acid, so you can use lime or lemon juice. I just prefer lime a little bit more. I think as long as you have a little bit of acid in there, that's all you need. It's not really full of flavour. Although you'll find out later on that I probably did add a little bit too much lime juice, and it started to become a little bit of a strawberry and lime jam. So yeah, maybe don't go as crazy as I did. Although I think I did add more off camera, and that's why it became very limey. So then your mixture should look like this once you've given it a mix. And then this is before you put it on heat. And then you slowly heat it up so it looks like this. And you can see that all the sugar has now dissolved. And it's this nice liquidy substance. I should have totally left the sound in because my boyfriend was playing games and it was hilarious. And then you want to bring it up to a rolling boil like this. It did go like to the very top of the pan. Thankfully it didn't boil over. And you want to do that for about 4 minutes. And then once it's done, and you've done your 4 minutes of boiling, it's up to you. Like some people prefer quite a chunky jam with like big chunks of fruit. I'm not that kind of girl. So I got my masher out and I didn't want it to be like completely smooth, but I just wanted to get rid of any like whole pieces of strawberry. And I'd kept like pushing it through the masher with my spatula because the strawberries kind of just like went to the side in the liquid and then sat on top of the masher most of the time. But yeah, as you can see, I think I'm going to show you in a second. Yeah. So you can still see there's like a few lumps, but there's no whole strawberries. And that's how I like it. And then I poured it into a jug because I tried to pour it straight into the jam jar and I realised that it would make an absolute mess. And then when I poured it into the jam jar, I poured way too much in, like an idiot, so I had to pour some back in. And then luckily I had another jam jar clean as well. So it ended up actually making about 1 1.5 jars of jam. So I feel like maybe if I had like 400 grams of strawberries, that would be enough to do 2 full jars. And then again, you just do 400 grams of the sugar as well. So there you have it. There is a jam. Hi, so we are back the next morning and our jam is ready. So I put my jam, as you can see, into like just some old clean jam jars that we already had. So they're not like sealed, like vacuum sealed or anything. So if you do it that way, your jam can last up to about 3 months, which for us is fine because we will definitely have eaten it by then. But the main like reasons for it going off sooner, I think it's like kind of like jam etiquette. So like, for example, this is our jam. So it looks like jam. It that smells really nice. It smells like jam. And just make sure you always have a clean knife. Don't be going in there with your butter knife that's got, toast crumbs and all that kind of stuff on, because you're just putting, like, for example, toast doesn't have as long a life as jam. So you're putting something into it that's going to go off quicker and therefore make your jam go off quicker. But yeah, obviously keep it in the fridge. And yeah, just don't be a tramp, I guess. So this is the texture, like it slowly like moves, which is kind of the texture that I like for jam. I don't like when it's like jelly. Like if you're a British person, jelly is very different to jam. And I don't like when it's set like a jelly. I like the fact that it has a little bit of movement. Okay, so that's kind of like give it a little stir. This is really hard to do without. See, I would say that is like perfect jam consistency. It just slowly drops. And obviously, in the video, you saw me trying to mush the strawberries up a little bit because I'm not a fan of huge. I don't like when there's whole strawberries in there. So I think I've achieved a good jam texture. Right. So I have a slice of toast. So I'm going to do a taste test now. I'm going to try and not make a mess. Yeah, so the other thing is when you're like, say you put in the jam on the toast and spread it. I don't know why I'm explaining jam on toast. I'm probably going to stop. Basically, just don't double dip. Like, scoop all of the jam out you want first without touching the toast, and then start spreading it. I know it's dangerous because what if you didn't get enough out, but just get another knife or spoon. But put a decent dollop on. Spread it across. My boyfriend is obsessed with jam, and if you've seen like Wallace and Gromit, that kind of like cartoon thick layer of jam, that is how he has it. I think that's a bit psychotic. This is how I jam my toast. Look at like a medium layer. Now I did put a lot of lime juice in this, and I think this turned into like a strawberry and lime jam, but we'll see. That's really nice. And it is, I don't know, it definitely has the hint of lime in there. You could probably do with, if you don't like lime at all, and you're just doing it for the sake of having the acid in there, you probably need a tiny bit. I just went a bit crazy because I like limes. Yeah, I don't know if you call it strawberry and lime jam or not. I feel like all really I don't know. It kind of feels in the middle. I feel like you have to put a tiny bit more lime if you want to call it like strawberry and lime, but it tastes like those Twister ice lollies, where it has like either strawberry or lime around the edge, like twisted with ice cream, and then a strawberry or lime center. But yeah, it's really nice. It worked, and we will definitely go through the jar and a half in the next 3 months. And yeah, I would like to try this with other fruits now. There we have, I don't know if this is a thing or not, but we have an elderberry tree in our garden, and I wonder what elderberry jam tastes like. Maybe you have to mix it with like a more common fruit that you know you'd like, but I will try that when my elderberries are ready. So yeah, that's it for now. And next week I'll be posting a video about baking. We're going to make some strawberry banana muffins. We're just going to do it with, basically I've got some overripe bananas that I need to use, and I'm just going to use whatever ingredients we have and trying to come up with a recipe. So yeah, stay tuned. Bye.